Mom! Mom! Hello? That ringing is not in your head, you know.
Hi everyone! This video will be a bit special because it's not properly a vlog. I think for the person who watched my previous vlog, you already know that I'm a big fan of Gilmore Girls. I'm so obsessed with this TV show, and since I'm also obsessed with books and I really want to buy some more physical books and not just reading on my Kindle, I was thinking that I need a goal. I need something to make me buy new books for a reason, and since I don't really need to read novel for my university, for my degree and what I'm studying, I just realized I can read some books that Rory read. So today's video is all about me reading books who were mentioned in Gilmore Girls, and most especially Rory's favorite book. So I made a list actually on my phone. For now, my list consists of, I think, 10 books. So the plan is, one of them is a book I ordered this night while I was struggling with sleeping anyway. So after my coffee I will see if I can find any of the books in a bookshop. I know I can find some of them, especially the classic one, in some charity shops for very cheap. I'm so excited!
You're the last of your kind, Mona Lisa, with a wink of your eye. Make it alright. Oh, there's more left to life, Mona Lisa. Let me take you along for the ride. Ain't nothing that stays the same. Won't ask it of you. It's just that burgundy smile you wore yesterday. I say you won't never lose. I've been down, I've been worse, Mona Lisa.
I'm back. Did I find anything? Yes. Did I find everything? No. On my list there were like 10 books and I found 3. Most of them because I think I saw maybe 5 or 6 in the bookshops. It's just like the price was so much cheaper online. Sometimes the editions were also really better online. The last one I get is A Shadow on the Wind. This one is from Waterstones. But basically, from what I remember, Daniel will find a book and will realize later that this book is really rare and that people will try to find this particular book. It's a little bit confusing, but I think I'm gonna really love this one. And on the first bookshop, I'm like, this one was amazing. It was autumny and spooky and the ladies inside were so nice. Oh my god. So from this shop I got 2 books, and to be fair, I'm so lucky because I was doing my research online, and when I found these 2 books I want this edition. I'm so glad. The first one is a classic. It's The Great Gatsby, and look, I didn't think I can find this sort of edition in this bookstore, but apparently I can, so I'm so fucking glad. And the weird thing about this is this book was, I think, £4 or £5, which is nothing. And the last one is a bell jar, and this edition is a new one. I think same thing. I was okay, I'm gonna order this one online because I won't find this one, and I did. And I think I will begin my readathon, my Rory Gilmore Reading with this. And on Thursday I'm going back to the library to give back some of the book I borrowed before. So maybe what I can do, because on my list I have Narnia, the first one, and for this sort of thing I really want to find this book either way in a charity shop or just borrowing this one in a library. I have my laptop with me and I'm just going to look at my wish list. I'm gonna tell you which one I want and then I'm just gonna buy it. One I really want to read, not because I want to read it, because I mean it's Anna Karenina. It was like a major book for Rory in season 1 or season 2, because a lot of the book of my wish list will be just books she mentioned or book we saw in the TV show and not a book she probably talk about. But this one, we actually talk about a lot about this one, so I really want to try it. And I think when you look online, it's like the first one will be up on the list for Ruiz's favorite book. In this book we're gonna follow a girl named Esther, and she's an intern in a fashion industry company in New York. It's 10:50. I read quite a lot this evening. I just love how the author is writing. It's a vibe. Like when I was reading Normal People, there was this strange, weird feeling when I was reading, but still, even if I was 100% happy to read this sort of thing, I really was addicted, and it's more or less the same thing with this book. It's the next day and I finish the bulk jar at 2 p.m. I just want to talk a little bit about when Rory mentioned this book. The one I remember and at least I've written on my notebook is season 1 episode 17, and I think it's the one when Rory, she's supposed to go at this party at Chilton, so with a bougie friend, you know, and Lorelai just say to her, why don't you go in your room and just read the bulk jar? It will be the same effect. Because for Lorelai, going to this Chilton party will be really boring and depressing. She makes a comparison with the author. For people who don't know, she suffered from mental illness and she killed herself. It's really interesting to see the progress about mental health in Gilmore Girls. I'm currently on season 6, so I can't say much. But from my look online, I know that one of the characters, maybe two, will be in therapy. This means even if it won't be perfect or anything, there is still progress from season 1 with Lorelai being like, she's crazy because she's depressed, from going herself to therapy.
Hey, did anyone ever think maybe Sylvia Plath wasn't crazy? She was just cold.
When I was telling you the plot about this girl Esther being an intern in New York in a fashion brand company, I was really imagining in my head this girl being in a fashion magazine, maybe talking about outfit. But actually it's not really about all of that. So if you want to read this book for this particular reason, don't. But I have to admit, past 100 pages, it was quite depressing. A trigger warning about mental health and especially suicide. Yesterday I had trouble sleeping, so I picked up my reading and the first line I read was, I tried to hang myself. So you know, it's very different from now. Even now it's not the best, but back in the day it was more about shock treatment, electronical shock. But just for you to know, I skipped a few pages at the end because it was just too much. The conclusion is, I thought this one is really interesting because at the end, spoiler alert, it's not really a spoiler because we don't really know, but we can imagine. At the end, this girl, Esther, she's released. Technically, she's supposed to have like a second chance at life. And the nice thing with fiction is that you can write what you want, even if in the real life, Sylvia didn't really have an happy ending or a second chance. It wasn't the case with a character in this book, so in a way she was living a second chance and a nice new life through a writing and through a book. Here I am again to talk to you about the bell jar. The thing I didn't mention, one, was during the first part of the book when Esther, so the main character, is more or less sane. At this point, she really made me think of Rory because she's this sort of girl who works herself all life for having scholarship, for having good grades. Second point, and this one is a big one and I don't even know how I forgot about this. It's a whole society representation and depiction in this novel from a point of view of being a woman, because Esther is very clear she don't want to marry, she don't want to have children in 1950. It's pretty rare, and I see you later for my update for The Shadow of the Wind.
3 days later.
Look what I found when I came back from the uni. Yesterday I received this one. Did you remember when I mentioned this Russian book because it was the first favorite book of Rory? And I found this wonderful edition. Oh my god, it is almost 1000 pages. Smaller one, pretty tiny. But I really love like the colors, the green and the blue. We have another classic. Shakespeare. It's the only book where I didn't find any cute cover. Do you remember when I was like, oh, I'm not gonna buy Narnia? But then I found this edition. It's so small and it's so... Look at this! Another book, and this one is the same edition as this one. And the last one is another classic. It's A Tale of Two Cities. Now it's time for beginning a new book, and this one is A Shadow of the Wind. I read a few pages just now. It's so nice because it's just this boy talking about books, and since he came from a family of bookshopper, bookkeeper and all of that sort of jobs, the love of books is incredible and it's so obvious. By the way, this title is not really mentioned in Gilmore Girls, but I think it is. I don't really know, it just, you know, we can find this list of 300 books mentioned in Gilmore Girls online, and this one is on the list, but I don't know from what episode, from what season or anything.
You're the last of your kind, Mona Lisa, with a wink of your eye. Make it on.
This time I'm gonna do my little review of The Shadow of the Wind. I finished this book 2 or 3 days ago. Overall, it was a good reading, but I was, in a way, a bit disappointed because it wasn't what I was expected. When I was doing like the little summary and talking about the plots, I really thought it was something more about fantasy, still a bit more magical, but it wasn't that way. It confused me, but technically it's a really good book. All I had was more the life of Daniel being really... It wasn't plain and boring, but it was really more the life of this boy in Spain with his dad, his friend, his love and this sort of thing. So if you want to read this book, keep in mind it won't be fantasy, but more like magical realism. If we forgot about that, I really like the fact that the book begins directly with the fact, so it's just directly Daniel finding this book. Also, another point, and this is really great, I discovered Barcelona and I said Spain, but technically it's not really Spain. Anyway, not geography today. The point is, it was really nice to read something elsewhere than the UK or America or France, because I don't know much about Spain. Other than that, I didn't really like Daniel, so the main character, especially when he was young, because we follow him from he's 10 years old to maybe 30. And the last thing which I really love in this book is you will have many puns in it, but really subtle one. I just finished to read The Shadow of the Wind, and now it's time for reading this big fat baby. I'm a bit scared, but at the same time I'm very excited to just discover it.
think maybe Tolstoy's just a little over my head.
No, that's not true. Tolstoy wrote for the masses, the common man. It's completely untrue that you have to be some kind of genius to read his stuff.
Yeah, but...
Now, I know it's big.
Very big.
And long.
Very, very long.
Many of the Russian names tend to be spelled very similar, making it confusing.
Every single person's name ends with ski. Now, how is that possible?
But it's one of my favorite books, and I know that if you just give it a try, you...
All right, I'll try again.
Really?
Yeah.
You won't be sorry.
Coffee?
Please.
I didn't think this man was gonna come, but it's okay, it's not the right side. Okay, here we go. I finished last night. Oh my fucking god. This book was such an adventure. I didn't think at first it was gonna be such like this sort of story and I was gonna like it so much. Let's do a little review of this book because this book is huge and there are so many things to tell about this one, but I think you can find like several videos, 1 hour or even more online if you want. The plot is about, not to be mistaken, because at first I was thinking it was gonna be only about Anna, because if you have read like Pride and Prejudice or even Little Woman, there is like one main character and you will follow like their sister or their family, but it's still like one main character in the center of the book and you can have a glance at some other people but you won't have their thoughts or everything. But in this one it's pretty different because even if obviously Anna is in the center of the book and obviously she's like a part of connection between a lot of characters, we have in this book also a lot of point of view and just the complete life of a character who aren't like her sister or a brother or just someone really related directly to Anna. Another point I wasn't aware of was obviously this book is about Russian society in 18 something. Even if I was aware that there was gonna talk about marriage and society, I haven't thought about like the philosophical point, and there is one character who think a lot and I really love this guy. Technically he's supposed to be the hero at the end of the book, so it was really interesting and there was a lot of discussion about religion, especially of believing or not. I love this book and it made me even more want to learn more about Russian. If you have the courage to read almost 1000 pages, this is your book. This will be so... you will thank me. Also, to make the connection with Gilmore Girls, I can understand that this one is like the major favorite of Rory Gilmore, because Anna, even if we ignore like the end of the book and even if the end, like I needed to check online the meaning of the end because I wasn't sure, it's still a really nice end for her. About Gilmore Girls, I can understand Rory because Anna is such a nice woman and she's powerful in a way, but she's creative and joyful and she just makes so much sense to me. Around here, so at the half of the book, there is this discussion about rights and women. I was so surprised to see how it was going, because even if most of the characters are men and men are just stupid, a few of them were having really interesting and nice thoughts and ideas about rights and women. Women are deprived of rights because of their lack of education, and their lack of education results from their lack of rights. We must not forget that the subjection of women is so widespread and so old that we often refuse to recognize the abyss that separates them from us. After these quotes, other men were talking and belied, but it's so stupid, and if I was trying to do this, should I have right to? And okay, just men talking, but this particular part was so interesting. One of the last book is Franny and Zooey. It's so beautiful. It's only 150 pages. But just for you to have a little context about Gilmore Girls, because that's still the point of the video.
Hey.
Did you get lost?
No, I was looking at Rory's books.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to see if she had Franny and Zooey. She does.
Okay.
I was gonna get it for her if she didn't.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
For now, I really enjoy it, and I can see the little connection between this one and Gilmore Girls.
6.5 hours later.
Like I was planning to do, I finished Franny and Zooey yesterday in 1 day. I think the book I like the least in all the book I read for this video. During all the book I was, what the fucking point of this discussion? Because it's mainly a discussion between Franny and Zooey. I just look online again because apparently without analysis I can understand everything. I still wasn't convinced by the message of the book because I saw a few articles saying, oh, this book just changed my life, or the life lessons in this book are so nice and incredible. It wasn't my type of book, but just let me explain what one is about. Franny and Zooey. There are two siblings, so Franny is a girl and Zooey is a boy. The first part, Franny was published in a newspaper or something first, and then Zooey was published, but in the book the two are together. What is interesting to see is that Franny will have to end, because we'll begin with Franny in the first part, so she will have this end, and then the end she will have in Zooey part. So in the first part it's basically one pretty short, and it's Franny having a mental breakdown, and the second part is a following of this. It's Franny returning home and being still miserable and still in this mental breakdown thing, but this time Zoe is here, so the brother, and he will have this sort of discussion with her around religion, spiritual thing, and life lesson and all that. It makes a connection with Gilmore Girls. What I noticed with the few first pages, especially in Franny part, was that there was mention of Yale, Harvard, martinis, and also name. In this book we've got a Dean and we've got a Lane. And the last thing will make me really think of Sally Rooney's last book is the fact that in this one you will have some letters, and it's more or less similar to the email. And the other thing is we follow like two people through different point of view. I'm seeing Sally Rooney in everything I'm reading now, more or less. So maybe just me. There was in this book a quote of Anna Karenina, and I was, oh my god, I just read this book before this one, and now there is a quote of Anna in this book. Yeah, I'm gonna update you about Great Gatsby, so the last book of my challenge for this video at least. In this weird angle, to be honest, without reading an analysis and without watching a video and think I didn't understand a thing in this book. It might be just me, because I don't think it's so difficult to read, especially at the end. There was so many things happening, and at one point I was reading this event and I was, oh, so this happened and I didn't realize it. Obviously, since I was confused and I didn't get a fucking clue of what the book was about. But the truth is, since I watched some videos and analysis, I now get where the author was going and how the plot was trying and just succeed, saying something about wealth, about love, and about so many things. I can see why this one is so famous and why so many people love this book. So the main plot line is we've got Nick who just moved next door to Gatsby. He will be really intrigued about this man because he is just partying every day with a lot of people in his mansion. He's just not doing that for nothing. He's doing all of it for one goal. And I check online because I wanted to be sure. This book is mentioned in season 3 episode 11 when Lorelai is speaking with Suki, and you know, it's this episode when a guy is coming back at the inn and it was like, oh Suki, it was so long, a long time ago we didn't see each other, and it was really interested in Suki, but Suki at this point was already engaged or married to Jackson. So Laura went, oh my god, Ruiz Daisy. And yeah, that's how we mentioned the Great Gatsby in Gilmore Girls. Before ending this video, I just wanted to talk about what I gained from this challenge and from this video. I don't think you can realize it, but before all of it, I think I read these 5 books in 2 weeks, and before that, I wasn't reading any classic. And the thing is, since I was having a goal of reading this classic for a video, I was so motivated and I really wanted to finish the book. At the end, it was so fucking interesting, and now I just want to read more classic. Since I read Karenina, which is like 900 pages and even more, I can say to myself, okay, you just read this book. It was very long, it was a classic, so now you can be afraid of another classic of like 500 pages. You did it before, so now you can do it again. If I was doing a ranking of the books I read, I think I can say for sure that my 2 absolute favorite ones was Berger and Anna Karenina. Anna was 900 pages long and even more, so you have so many characters, you have so many things to analyze. And if you don't want to miss the next video, including the part 2 of this Ruiz challenge book, you can subscribe to my channel, and I'm gonna see you really soon, I hope, with a new video, vlog or challenge, whatever. So yeah, see ya, bye!
I live in 2 worlds. One is a world of books. I've been a resident of Faulkner's Yoknapatawpha County, hunted the white whale aboard the Pequod, fought alongside Napoleon, sailed a raft with Huck and Jim, committed absurdities with Ignatius J. Riley, rode a sad train with Anna Karenina, and strolled down Swan's Way.